Coffee and convo, y'all. Let's get it. Yo, salute to everybody already here in the building. Y'all know what time it is, man. Welcome to the latest installment of Coffee and Convo. I am your host, Graphk Raider, man. Salute to the greatest chat in the universe. I see all my people, Mad Mike James, Mike Downs. I see my brother Mikey in the building, Dominique 5, Redbone, Tyree, Raider X, Classic Man Q, Primos, Hug D's, all my people, Niles, Dan Chansworthy. Salute to everybody. Do me a favor, you guys. Make sure you wipe them feet, meaning hit them thumbs up. Also, hit that subscribe button. We are already almost to 25,000 subscribers, and it's because of the greatest chat in the world. You guys could be anywhere in the universe right now, man, but you chose to be right here with me in this very moment. Salute, salute, salute. A lot to talk about right now. There was some news that broke late last night, you guys, about us potentially bringing in a veteran corner for a workout, for a visit. It looks as though that's going to happen this week. We're going to talk about that. Some news broke this morning, not too long ago, about a young veteran running back that is going to come into the building today for a walkthrough. We may be able to identify our running back 2 here in free agency for the cheap. We're going to talk about that also. And then an interesting thing happened this morning, y'all. Somebody put up an interesting tweet connecting us with one of the top wide receivers in free agency right now, and then they deleted it. We're going to talk about that. We're going to see if this is a real thing here, but you already know what it is, man. Let's start by, I want to know what everybody is this morning, man. What city, what state, where are you at? You at home? You at work? Are you at the side chick's house? Are you at the side chick's house? Are you at the trap house? Where are you watching this show this morning? Let me see. Yeah, Chubb, it's kind of crazy, man. Kind of crazy. Kind of just popped up out the blue and then instantly was disappeared. It just instantly disappeared. It's nasty work out here in these streets, man. Let me see. I see ATL. I see my city. Come on, man. Sacramento's in the building. Chi-Town, Montreal, Arizona, East Oakland. Come on, man. Shout out to East Oakland, man. Ontario, Indiana, North Carolina. We see Utah in the building. Fresno, Louisville, Texas. More of the town. I love it. Del Paso Heights. Salute to North Sacramento in the building. We got Vegas, Tucson. There we go. And I see my big bro in the building also, man. Salute to LV Maximus. All right, let's get to talking, man. Real quick, last night news broke, you guys, that our Raiders are bringing in a veteran corner for a visit. Salute to Mike Garofalo. Last night, he dropped the information. Former Bills All-Pro and Pro Bowl corner Tre'Davious White has visits scheduled with the Rams and the Raiders this week, with a few more teams showing interest as well. Sources say White, cut by Buffalo earlier this month, is working his way back from a torn Achilles. So everyone knows, you guys, he's kind of getting along in the tooth, getting up there in age. He's dealing with a recovery right now from a torn Achilles. He also tore his ACL, I believe, in 2021. So injuries have derailed the former All-Pro corner, his career. I believe he's missed, man, I forgot how many games these past 2 seasons, like 17 games these past 2 seasons. He's missed a lot of football, but this would be a great low risk, high reward type situation. A guy that can play on the boundary, that can play in the slot for you. He also excels, you guys, in zone coverage. I think Patrick Graham, if he could stay healthy, would be able to get the best out of this guy. Last year, we played zone pretty much 75% of the time during the season. So this could be an interesting pickup for us. He has 18 career picks. But once again, you guys, a guy that has missed a shit ton of football, especially these past 2 seasons. I believe he was owed roughly somewhere around the $8 million range this year. That's why Buffalo cut him. What do you guys think about bringing him in on an inexpensive deal, maybe $3-4 million, and just a bunch of incentives? You can, play a certain amount of, snaps. You can reach this threshold. You can get back to that Pro Bowl, all pro form. We'll stack up a few more millions. What do you guys think about potentially paying $3 to $4 million and maybe get him up to that $8 million threshold where he was going to make with Buffalo this year with heavy incentives? Trust me. I mean, this is a guy, like we talked about the Achilles injury. We talked about the torn ACL. If he can pass his physical, you guys, I am all for bringing in an all-pro talent like Trey White, as long as the contract is heavy incentivized. There has to be incentives, an incentive-ridden contract, point-blank period, the end. I'm not going anything over $3 to $4 million that can roughly get up to about $8 million if he reaches those thresholds in his contract. There's some other options out there, you guys. Stephon Gilmore is still out there. He has not dealt with these kind of injuries. I believe he's 33, 34 years old now. So he is getting a little long in the tooth also, but he will cost a lot more money than Trey White. I'm looking at this, you guys, as a low risk, high reward type situation. You know what I mean? A guy that can come in, potentially give you the reps that Amit gave you, you know what I mean? Can give you some play, give you some plays on the boundary, can give you some plays in the slot. Patrick Graham values versatility. This is a guy that can move around for you when healthy, man. Also, another guy to keep an eye on. We've talked about him for a long time now over here at OLV, Xavier Howard. The Miami Dolphins did release him to save a shit ton of money. They, I forgot what the designation was, but, basically they said he didn't pass his physical, I believe, with that foot injury. So something to keep an eye on with Xavier Howard. But also we talked about Gilmore, but Trey White will be in the building. This is such a Raider move, you guys. If you can get anything out of him, I'm not against bringing a guy in like Trey White with that pedigree, a dude that can play, at a very, very high level when healthy. And he's rarely healthy, but let's see how this, workout plays out. Let's see how this visit plays out. He will be going to the West Coast, you guys, visiting the Rams and our Raiders. So stay tuned for that. We will cover every second of this Trey White situation as he goes to Vegas this week. So stay tuned. But yes, you guys, Trey White will be in the building visiting our Raiders this week. A potential big playmaker in the building for a very, very inexpensive contract due to the injuries that he's had these past few years that has derailed his career. So we broke down the Trey White situation. And mind you guys, I'm all for bringing him in and I'm all for letting him walk. It's all about where he is health-wise. He has missed a shit ton of games. I believe it's 17 games these past few seasons. So that is tough, but keep an eye on him. Also, you guys, Jordan Schultz, our boy, friend of the, he's a friend of the show, our boy, our dog. He has dropped a heavy, low, I ain't gonna say heavy, low-key haymaker today, okay? After losing running back Josh Jacobs to free agency when he signed with the Green Bay Packers, the Las Vegas Raiders are eyeing another member of the 2019 draft class as his potential replacement. I'm gonna remind you guys real quick, he's only 25 years old. It seems as though he's a veteran, right? He's been around a few years, but he is a running back, so 25 is kind of like old in the NFL, right? But according to NFL insider Jordan Schultz, former Minnesota Vikings running back Alexander Mattison is visiting with the Raiders on Monday. So he is in the building today. Schultz added that multiple teams are in play for Mattison at the moment. The Vikings selected Mattison in the 3rd round of the 2019 draft, 2 rounds after the Raiders took Jacobs with the number 24 pick after spending the first 4 years of his career as a primary backup to running back Dalvin Cook in Minnesota. Mattison assumed a starting role last season. Unfortunately, assuming a bigger workload didn't work out as smoothly as he hoped. Madison played in 16 games with 13 starts in 2023 and totaled 180 carries for 700 yards and 0 touchdowns. He added 30 catches for 192 yards and 3 touchdowns in the receiving game, but he also finished with 3 fumbles, 2 of which he lost. Towards the end of the season, he was forced to cede carries to Ty Chandler, former North Carolina product, you guys, a 2022 fifth-round pick. So this is interesting, man. You know what I mean? Potentially bringing this guy in to be that 1-2 punch, you know, with our guy, Zeus. I'm not mad about this. An inexpensive deal, you know, a guy that's been there and done that. Like I said, put up 700 yards last year. I believe he averaged 3.9 a carry, you guys, last year. It's not bad, man. A guy that Minnesota believed in enough to move on from Dalvin Cook and put him, you know, as running back 1. Like I said, it didn't work out, but I would not be against bringing this guy in on a cheap deal. Cheap, because either way, we're going to get a running back in this upcoming draft. And we're probably going to target that running back in that 4, 5, 6 range, you know, to bring in to challenge Zeus, to potentially challenge Madison for those extra reps. And mind you guys, too, we still have Britton Brown. I don't know what this regime thinks of him. I don't know what they think of Sincere McCormick on the practice squad. But Madison could be a guy that could, and we brought back Amir Abdullah also on a 1-year deal. But this can be a guy that can potentially come in and kind of be, you know, a guy that just comes in and just take those running back 2 reps, you know, behind Zeus. I'm not against this, man. This does not say anything about Zeus, y'all. This is a guy that has taken reps as a starter and as a backup, that is adding a shit ton of experience to the running back room with a young guy like Zamir, you know, there to be the number 1 guy at this point. Cheap, inexpensive deal. I'm cool with looking at Madison Alexander at this point. He's not a guy, like I said, that's going to come out here and put up 1,000+ yards a year. He's never put up 1,000 yards on the ground. Last year was a career year for him with 700. And once again, he had no tutties on the ground. He had 3 in the air. You know what I mean? So this is someone that can potentially give you some reps also in the passing game. And I don't think he's ever put up over 300. Maybe I think he might have put up over 300 yards one time, you know, in the receiving game. But this is not a guy that's going to come in and be, you know, a very, very valuable asset in the passing game. I believe we'll find that in the draft this upcoming season, or this upcoming draft. A guy that can add that shiftiness to the running back room, a guy that, you know, can catch the football out of the backfield. You know, I know Amir Abdullah technically is that veteran right now and can be that 3rd down back, but I'm assuming that we're going to find that guy in this draft in those later rounds. And I've said it a million times, you know, the Ray Davis is the world. If Bucky Irvin falls, a guy that can, you know, get it done in the passing game, get it done in the running game, this is going to be, you know, what did Tom Telesco and what did AP and these guys say? They wanted to do, you know, a running back by committee approach. They didn't want to just have one lead back. They want a bunch of guys that can get it done on the ground. So I'm all for bringing in a Madison, you know, bringing in Alexander Madison. You know, I'm not against this. I'm not against this at all. I think this is a good deal. You know, if we bring him in, it'd be an inexpensive deal that wouldn't cost us a shit ton of money. So, yes. Thus far, we talked about Trey White coming in for a meeting this week. We also talked about Alexander Madison, former starting running back for the Minnesota Vikings, coming in today, you know, to have a meeting with our guys and our staff to see what's there. And also, you guys, an interesting tidbit here. We all knew that Mike Williams, former Charger, wide receiver, number 2 there, he's put up over 1,000 yards twice in his young career. He's played his whole career with, you know, with the Los Angeles Chargers. Tom Telesco was the one that drafted him. We already assumed, you know, this week he was meeting with the Jets, meeting with the Steelers, meeting with the Panthers. So there's a lot going on right now. Technically, he's the number 1 wide receiver in the market. He only played 3 games last year, you guys. So maybe this is just the Raiders. And mind you, I have to show you guys something before we do this. So let me show you guys. All right. Salute to everybody here in the building. Here we go. Peter Schrager put this tweet out earlier today and then deleted it. Okay. As always, as they always say, follow the connective tissue when it comes to free agency. And in this case, Las Vegas Raiders GM Tom Telesco drafted, extended, and watched Mike Williams every day of his NFL career. If his visit with the Raiders goes well, that one seems to make sense. And then he deleted the tweet. So I don't know if this is a situation where maybe, he got maybe the Chargers being interested in bringing him back at a lower cost. Maybe he assumed, the West Coast connection, LV, LA. Maybe he thought that maybe he just got the two mixed up, right? Maybe he just got the two mixed up. Or maybe he jumped the gun and Tom Telesco and the Raiders did not want him to drop that report or drop that tweet that quick and that fast, because he deleted it very, very quick. But it was very detailed, you guys, like very detailed. As people say, follow the connective tissue when it comes to free agency. And in this case, Tom Telesco drafted, extended, and watched Mike Williams every day of his NFL career. If this visit with the Raiders goes well, that one seems to make sense. It was very, very detailed. I don't know if maybe Tommy hit him up and said, hey, delete that tweet. We didn't want that to be known. His services are very high. He's a valued commodity right now in free agency at the wide receiver position. Carolina can use, another receiver next to Deontay Johnson. The Steelers can actually use Mike Williams probably more than any other team in free agency right now, with adding Russell Wilson and adding, Justin Fields. They still have Pickens out there, but they can use another receiver opposite of him. So I can see that connection there. And then once again, the Jets, they need another receiver. They actually need a number one. Well, I'm not going to say number one because Garrett Wilson is a number one receiver. He just hasn't had a lot of production because of the quarterback situation out there with the Jets. But I think the Jets would be a perfect situation for Mike Williams because he can be that wide receiver too that he's been up to this point in his career. If he went to Carolina, he may have to be the number one guy. In Pittsburgh, George Pickens is clear cut the number one guy. If he goes to Vegas, it's interesting, you guys, because you can put Devontae in the slot a lot, where he got a lot of his production in Green Bay. A lot of people tend to forget when Luke Getsy was out there as the wide receiver coach, he had Devontae lined up in the slot a lot. Maybe Getsy sees Devontae eating out of that slot a lot. Also, Jacoby Myers, a guy that predominantly played in the slot in New England, who played on the boundary for us this past season. So it'll be interesting to see if this guy came in and was the wide receiver too, and you can kick in Devontae in the slot, get him more reps there. Put Jacoby Myers back in the slot, get him some reps there. It'd be very interesting to have Mike Williams be that wide receiver too on the boundary. And move our other guys around. Would be very, very interesting. But I don't know if the money is going to line up for the likes of a Mike Williams. This is there's a shit ton of talent in this upcoming draft at the wide receiver position. You could potentially get a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 in day 3. You know what I mean? This is a deep wide receiver class. Me personally, I understand the connection with Tom Telesco. I understand that he may want to go get his boy Mike Williams. Mike Williams may want to stick it to the Chargers twice a year and come to the divisional rival because of the way they handled him. They cut him, and now they're trying to bring him back at a cheaper price. I could see him coming back, and returning with Tom Telesco and running it back with a Devontae Adams and a Jacoby and a Trey Tucker and Michael Mayer, right? I could see it. But I'm not going to pay a shit ton of money for Mike Williams. This would have to be a 1-year prove-it deal. He's coming off of a season, you guys, where he played in 3 games last year. He had 249 yards, receiving. He had 1 tutty, okay? The year prior, he played in 13 games. So, injuries have, piled up as of late. Before that, 14 games. Before that, he played in 16 games. Wasn't, too many injuries in the middle of his career, but these past few seasons, it has starting to pile up. He missed 4 games in 2022. He missed 14 games last season. He hasn't had over 1,000 yards since 2021, where he put up 1,146 yards in the air, and he had 9 touchdowns to go along with that. This is not a Pro Bowl guy. He's never had a Pro Bowl, season. He's never been an All-Pro. This is a 6'4", big body X receiver that you can put on a boundary and move your other guys on your roster around and see if you can, if they would benefit moving them around in the slot, on the boundary, so on and so forth. Me personally, you guys, this is not a situation that I would like. I believe in what we have at the wide receiver position. I love, Jacoby. I think that he does everything right. Yes, he's not the speediest guy. He's a great blocker. He's a great route runner. He does everything right. Then you got Devontae, one of the greatest wide receivers in the league. I don't see why you would need a Mike Williams. If you're looking at him potentially, just go get one. Go get one in this upcoming draft, or go get, another guy in free agency that, cost you a lot less than bringing in a Mike Williams. I don't want to spend that kind of money. There's no way. I don't want to spend that kind of money on a Mike Williams who's only played, in 16 games the past 2 seasons. There's no way in hell. Tom Telesco, if this is true, if what Peter tweeted and deleted is true, please look elsewhere. There was no real reason to bring in a Mike Williams at this point. Let him go to Carolina. Let him go to Pittsburgh. Let him go to the Jets potentially with Aaron Rodgers. Shit, even let him return back to LA, and be that guy over there. Please, no. Please, please, please do not look at Mike Williams in free agency. It's going to be a lot of money. He's the number 1 receiver, you guys, right now. If this is a realistic option, there's no reason for it. And we haven't even identified the quarterback yet. We don't know if it's Aiden O'Connell. We don't know if it's Gardner Minshew. We don't know if we're going to go with a rookie. At this point, why would you want to add even more firepower with Mike Williams at the wide receiver position when you still don't even know what you have at the quarterback spot? I would just rather take on a cheap, inexpensive deal, in the draft and kind of see what you can do there. And I want to see Trey Tucker make, that massive jump this upcoming season as well. I want to see him get more reps. He looked really, really good sparingly last season. He didn't get a ton of touches, but he made some moves when he did. I want to see what Trey Tucker can do moving forward. And I just don't want to bring in a guy like Mike Williams, who durability has been an issue, and he may potentially take reps away from some of your young guys. Potentially the young guy we bring in this, in this draft, and Trey Tucker in year 2. Let me see. Salute to the new members in the building also, you guys. Do me a favor, man. Wipe them feet. Hit them thumbs up. If you're not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. Salute to Bob, my guy. If you guys want to become a member like Treyo, hit the link. It's pinned up top. And I want to also mention another member that joined this morning before the show started. So let me bring this up. Salute to everybody here, man. Real talk. And I'm going to get some questions in also, you guys. All right, boom. Can't find it. I can't find it. But either way, man, salute to all the new members in the building. Salute to my guy, Arizona Tim, in the building, man. Appreciate you on a $10 donation, King. This may be crazy talk, but I still think trading Devontae to the Jets for the first pick is a good idea. We can go younger at receiver, and Devontae's on the downside of his career. Your thought? I've spoken about this a lot, Tim. First and foremost, Devontae's not going anywhere. He's a Raider. He wants to be in Vegas. I don't see in any world how it makes any sense for Devontae to want to go to the Jets when Aaron Rodgers probably has one more year left. There's so much weird talk right now about him potentially going into politics. And, he's coming off of, a Achilles injury where he's up there in age. It's going to be very difficult for him to bounce back from that. I don't think a lot of people are really looking at that. I know that A-Rod started to show signs of healing pretty fast last year. He was out there throwing off his back foot and all that good stuff on the sidelines. It all looks good until it ain't good. You know what I'm saying? It all looks good until it ain't good. You know what I mean? There's no reason to move on from Devontae, man. Devontae is a major asset for this team. Now, if they offered you that number 10 pick, that's something you definitely have to take a look at, because you could potentially get younger at the receiver position. If you moved on from Devontae, you could potentially take Rome there at 10. You know what I mean? And you can bring in a guy that is at the beginning of his career on a rookie deal that can be that guy for you moving forward. But I don't think that you move on from Devontae Adams. I think that they believe in what they're building. I think that they want Devontae and Max Crosby to be those two guys, those anchors, one on the offensive side of the ball, one on the defensive side of the ball, to be the leaders of that locker room. I don't think that we're going to move on from Devontae. Now, if they moved on from him and got a first-round pick, Tim, I would not be mad about it. We gave up a first and a second, a few years back and brought him in, and and it worked out in year 1. Last year it was okay. It wasn't as great as we thought it was going to be, but don't move on from Devontae. Keep him around. I know he's a little up there in age. He's getting up there. He's north of 30 now. But I'm gonna be real, Tim. I've said this a million times. Devontae is a guy that can be very productive into the latter years of his career, because he doesn't just depend on speed. This is not a guy that depends just solely on speed. He is a great route runner. He's a great X's and O's guys. He has a major football acumen. He's intelligent. This is not a guy that relies heavily on speed. He can go out there and he just knows how to play the game. This is a football player that if, barring, God forbid, any real injuries to Davante Adams, he can play for a long time. This can be a guy that could potentially be that Tim Brown and Jerry Rice, the guy that can play into his late 30s, that can, still play at a pretty high level. So no reason to move on from Davante. But if they offered you that number 10 pick, that is something that you would probably have to at least think about. You have to think about it because it's very, very difficult to get a top 10 pick. And then think about this. If you had the 10 and the 13 pick, it became a lot more easier for you to move up and go get your quarterback. You can, take that number 10, that 13, and move up to that, potentially to that top 3 or that top 5. And maybe, just maybe, you go get Jaden Daniels. But then you're going to have to go identify another receiver. And at that point, you may miss out on those top receivers in that first round. You may have to start looking at, the next wave of guys in that second, third round. Or you may have to go take a flyer on a veteran that just pretty much lost separation with Odell Beckham Jr., one of those guys in free agency, which I'm trying to stay away from. You know what I mean? So salute to Tim, though. Appreciate you on a $10 donation, brother. Also, salute to Ivan, my guy. Appreciate you on becoming a member of the channel. Salute to you. If you guys want to become a member, hit the link. It's pinned up top. Salute to my brother, Hug D's. My brother, always looking out for what we do over here at OLV. Appreciate you, man. Salute to all the new members in the building because of Hug D's. Salute to my guy, man. I'm gonna get cleaned up this week, y'all. I promise. I know I've been rough on screen lately, man. I've been, spring break. My sons have been at home all last week. It was tough for me to go get cleaned up. This week, I'm gonna go get clean. I'm gonna be on screen, a lot more cleaner, man. People were killing me about the dirty beard, man. Nasty work out here in these streets. Let me see. Yeah, New Era. We seen that. And to be real, me and Scout, we talk a lot behind the scenes. We text each other, and we have certain sources that we have, and some of them actually. Let me just say this: he has his own people. I have my own people, and some of our people are kind of connected. I've heard the same thing. I've heard that Mumford, they're very high on him moving forward, and it may be that 1-2 punch with him and Dalton Wagner if they see the fit bringing him back into the fold this year with James Craig there calling the shots on the O-line. But yes, I'm hearing that they love Mumford, and that he has the up and up right now at right tackle. Now, that doesn't mean that we go and we don't address right tackle in free agency or in the draft. That doesn't mean that we don't bring in some competition. But I'm hearing the same thing. I'm hearing that they love Mumford, and it's his job to lose at this point after allowing Jermaine Illuminor to walk in free agency to reunite with Carmen Bracillo and the New York Giants. Salute to my boy Pace. Appreciate the 1,500 people in the building, whether you're watching on Twitter or you're watching on YouTube, man. I just want to say I appreciate you guys. As always, hit that thumbs up, man. Wipe them feet. Hit that subscribe button. Pace says, on X, Williams responded to someone and said he wants a QB who actually wins. That was a fake account, Pace. That was a fake Mike Williams account. Then in a response to a Bills fan, he said he would rather have a QB who throws TDs in the red zone. He seems like a lot. That was a fake account, Pace. So pay that no mind, brother. It was a fake troll Mike Williams account. It was definitely fake. I seen it. I seen everything you're talking about. Fake account. Salute to Pace on the $10 donation. Salute to my brother, Daniel Kim, man. Salute, Graphk. Given our rush and a majority of zone coverage, DBs will feast playing with us. Definitely sign Trey White and O-line this week. Well, we shall see. Not hearing any connections right now, Kim, with any O-line coming in the building this week for any any meetings, any walkthroughs, none of that. I'm not hearing anything about any potential O-lineman coming in for a workout. But I hear you. Definitely. We just said 75% last year, I believe, was zone coverage. Trey White would definitely thrive. But the thing is, he has to stay healthy, and he has not been able to stay healthy at all. So, like I said before, inexpensive deal, low risk, high reward. Make that contract pretty much all incentives at this point. You know what I mean? And I'd be all for bringing in a Trey White. But that Achilles injury, man, that is a tough one to come back from. It's a tough Tough one to come back from, man. S. Dot, what's good, King? Farrell, we have no idea, brother. We have no idea. A reporter tweeted it, put it out there into the universe, and then he instantly deleted it. And this is a guy that has sources, a guy that's been a reliable source in the NFL circles, but he instantly deleted it. So I don't know if this is a situation where, the Raiders contacted him and said, can you please take that down? We don't want anybody knowing what we're doing. Or if he just kind of jumped the gun and assumed that, we're hearing a lot of rumblings of the Chargers wanting to bring back Mike Williams at a cheaper deal. Maybe he got, LV and LA confused. I don't know. We shall see. But at this point, I don't know if the Raiders are really in on trying to acquire Mike Williams in free agency. But the rumor mill is definitely swirling now with this now deleted tweet from Peter, Schrager. I'm going to read this again. As always, follow the connective tissue when it comes to free agency. And in this case, Las Vegas Raiders GM Tom Telesco drafted, extended, and watched Mike Williams every day of his NFL career. If this visit with the Raiders goes well, that one seems to make sense. And then since then, it's been deleted. So we have no idea what's really going on. Let me see. Salute to my boy Eric in the building, man. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, as always. We talked about Trey White, you guys. He will be in the building this week for a meeting with our Raiders in Henderson, Nevada. We talked about Alexander Mattison, a guy that is only 25 years old, has starter minutes before with the Minnesota Vikings. They actually moved on from Dalvin Cook and gave Alexander Mattison, those reps. It didn't work out with them last year, but a guy that put up 700 yards on the ground, put up almost 300 yards in the air for them, 3 touchdowns in the air, is coming in today. We will be meeting with him today. He will be in Henderson. So we may have our running back 2 right there with Alexander Mattison. So stay tuned for that. We have Amir Abdullah still under contract. We signed him to another 1-year deal, a guy that definitely helps us in special teams, definitely helps us on third downs. Solid blocker, can get it done in the passing game. So we may have, this running game may be set in stone here shortly if we bring in Madison, you guys. Can you think about that? Just think about that real quick. Zeus running back 1, Madison running back 2, Amir Abdullah running back 3, and then you still, like I said before, have a Britton Brown, former 7th round pick out of UCLA coming off the IR this year, and we still have Sincere McCormick, riding the pine on the practice squad. So, this running back room may get full pretty quick. I still believe, though, that we're going to get a running back in this upcoming draft as well. I don't think you want to miss out on this class. It's a pretty deep running back class. Yeah, Matt, I heard that too. I heard the rumors of Marshawn Lattimore. I believe today there's something to keep an eye on. I've seen something on Twitter. You guys don't quote me on this, but I seen something where today his contract may become guaranteed. So keep an eye on Marshawn Lattimore today, because they may move on from him. If they don't move on from him today, then maybe, the Marshawn Lattimore shit was just smoke. But I'm hearing a lot of that contract becomes guaranteed today. So if he was to be moved, it would be today. So keep an eye on Marshawn Lattimore and him potentially moving on from the New Orleans Saints today. So keep an eye on that. But don't quote me. But I could have swore I seen something say that his contract becomes guaranteed today. Salute to my dog. As always, my brother. You think Trey White still got it? Achilles is a tough injury to come back from at corner. It is, bro. It is. But let me tell you something. When he's healthy, he still plays at a high clip. You know what I'm saying? But it's all about availability at this point. But this is a guy that, Jason, if you sign him, he could potentially start for you if he stays healthy. And, if he's not ready to go day one, a guy that can rotate in and out, a guy that can play in the slot and play on the boundary. You know what I mean? So bring him in. Low risk, high reward. You know what I mean? Just make sure, we said it a million times, make sure that contract has a lot of incentives in it. But I think this would be a great pickup. It'd be a great pickup. You know what I mean? If even if you got 10 to 12 games out of him, you know what I'm saying? This can be a guy that can give you the Amik, Amik minutes. You know what I'm saying? And you could still go get the likes of a Quinyon Mitchell or a Terrian Arnold in the draft, or potentially go target a Kool-Aid McKinstry in the second round, or a Kyrie Jackson, my guy out of Oregon, in the third round. You know what I mean? But either way, I think this is a great move to bring in. Just take a look at him. You know what I mean? Check out his medicals, and if it pans out, bring him in. Low risk, high reward. Salute to my boy Pace. Thank goodness that was fake. Laugh out loud. By the way, do you think we draft a generational guard? This will be the year to do it, Pace. But I'm going to be honest with you, man. I don't know if you go target a guard that early. We'll probably end up looking at a guard in the 3rd or 4th round. And I think that some of those top talents will be off the board at that point. We may be looking at, a Christian Haynes, which I like a lot, out of Connecticut, or you can be looking at, maybe a guy out of a smaller school like South Dakota in that 3rd or 4th round. But I don't think that we target guard that early. I think what we're going to do, Pace, is sit back, look at the landscape and free agency at the guard spot. We didn't want to pay top dollar. It didn't make any sense because a lot of those guys are getting paid generational money. But maybe we do bring back a Greg Van Rotten to be a rotational guy at the right guard position, and we target a guard in those middle rounds. And I could see a Christian Haynes being a guy to look at out of Connecticut, or Zach Zinter, a guy that is dealing with, some injuries that I don't know if he's going to be available by week 1, but you can target him and do the Andrew Voorhees thing where you sit him in year 1 and bring him in year 2 after getting healthy. Salute to Pace. Salute to my boy, Ocean Boy, man. 127 in the building. D-line is giving that Super Bowl Giants feel. Feels like Telesco will plug holes here. Then at the draft, go best player available, O-line, corner at 13, and QB in the 2nd or bottom 1st. We are in a great position. Raiders. Salute to my guy. Salute to my guy, Ocean Boy. I agree with everything that you're saying, brother. I agree with everything you're saying, man. Salute to you, King, on a $10 donation. And I feel it. And we're not even done with the defensive line. That's what's so crazy at this point, you guys. We're not even done with the defensive line. I can still see us targeting another defensive tackle in the draft. I can see us going to get another rotational edge rusher, in those later rounds, potentially like a Kamara Muhammad, out of Colorado State in that 6th, 7th round, a guy that put up 13 sacks last season. We're not done yet. We are not done yet. We're not done. Janarius Robinson, we didn't cut him with the DUI, so he'll be back. Janarius Robinson, Tyree, who's still going to play a lot on the outside as an edge rusher. Malcolm Kuntz on the last year of his deal. I'm excited, man. This D-line is definitely looking really, really good going into this upcoming season, man, especially with the pickup of Christian Wilkins. It's insane. Graphk, do you think Van Pran could play guard? He seems athletic enough, and AP was at the Georgia Pro Day. I think this was us. You got to remember this. We were looking at Van Pran, early. We were looking at him early. Like, we just re-signed Andre James. We could use another center. We could use another center. At this point, we brought back Jordan Meredith. I mean, who are you assuming is center 2 at this point? We just paid Andre James, a shit ton of money to be the starter moving forward. They like him a lot. He's gotten better each year. But I'm gonna be real, man. If Van Pran is there in those middle rounds, and you want to bring in a guy that could potentially take the center position over later on, and be that centerpiece or be that center 2 moving forward, I can see them bringing in, but not at the guard position. Not the guard position. Bring in Van Pran to be that backup center. You still got Grasu, just like Maul said. He could be the backup center at this point. He's still there. So, but I don't think you would look at Van Pran to bring him in to play guard. I think his strength is to remain at center. He was a very highly productive center out there in Georgia. I wouldn't want to move him from the spot where he shines the most. Let me see. Yeah, Fred, exactly. Signing a 3-year, $24 million deal. There you go. Salute to everybody here in the building, man. And there's another one right there. Right? Another guy that you can look at as potentially moving to center if need be. Dylan Parham, who at this moment is your starting left guard of the future. Let me see. I agree with you. At first, Zeus, it looked a little crazy, right? We're like, damn, we paid Andre James a shit ton of money. Then you start seeing all the other centers, starting to get paid, and you're like, wow, we actually really got away with a great deal with Andre James, a guy that has started at the center position for us pretty much since Rodney Hudson moved on to Arizona. Let me see. See. J-Rock says, Drake May going to fall to the bottom of the 1st, maybe to the 2nd round. He ain't worth the hype. Only goes through his first read, can only throw a good deep ball, and isn't it as athletic as you think, huh? All right. I disagree with everything you just said, brother. But look, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Difference of opinion, King. Yeah, Chris. Raiders are going with the zone blocking, which means great for the running game. Factory. Raw, man. There's a few guys. We've talked about all of them at this point. Peyton Wilson at an NC State, if he's available, in that third round. After, there's going to be a run on linebackers in that second and third round. You could potentially look at him. Outside of injuries, man, he could be a dog for us at the linebacker position. Is Cedric Gray out of North Carolina. That is a guy that you could potentially look at in that third or fourth round if you want to bring some more competition into the linebacker room. There's a few kids out there in Michigan that we talked about recently. And then, Edrin Cooper, probably the best linebacker in this draft out of Texas A&M. And then Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Another guy that, could potentially come in and be one of those ones at the next level. Those are the only guys that I think, this is a top-heavy linebacker class. I don't think you're going to really find a lot of talent at the linebacker position in those later rounds. Now, maybe, AP does what he does and finds one of these potential steals as a UDFA. You know what I mean? But if you don't go linebacker raw in those first two rounds, maybe at the most in the fourth, I think you're going to pretty much miss out on the top-end talent at the linebacker position in this year's draft. Let me see. Oh, Tommy Eichenberg as well, Hug. Another guy out of Ohio State that you could potentially look at in those mid to later rounds. John, my boy, I live in LV, and I can tell you them boys in the front office been putting in OT. Those lights staying on mad late. I'm excited to see what's cooking. This is facts, John. Max is in there. Christian Wilkins is now in there. Michael Mayer is in there working out with Max. Tyree Wilson has been in there daily working with Max. Another guy, and I want to say this, salute to Jeffrey Kuntz. I believe it is Kuntz's father. We've talked a few times on Twitter. He commented on my video yesterday. He said, Kuntz has been in the building. He made sure to let it be known that his family member, Kuntz is in the building working with Max and all those guys. So it looks as though, man, that whole D-line is in there. Now with Adam Butler and John Jenkins back and re-signed, I believe that they're going to be in there with these guys as well. It looks as though these guys are ready to headhunt this year, man. I'm excited. I am excited. East Coast, let's talk off screen, bro. Let me know what's going on. Let me see. Salute to Junior. Salute to the pod. Feeling more and more like we're going to go tackle, QB, then corner. Pay attention to the moves and the way free agency is panning out across the league. So you mean in free agency, I'm assuming, Junior, not in the draft? Not in the draft? Or do you mean in the draft? Because I can see both. I don't think we're going to go get a tackle in free agency. I don't think we're going to do. I don't think we want to pay top end money for a potential tackle in free agency. But if the draft goes that way, I'm not mad about that. Okay, in the draft, I got you. Okay, so go get a tackle in round one, potentially Fuaga out of Oregon State at 13. Then you can potentially get a Spencer Rattler or a Michael Penix if he falls to the second round, and then you can look at Kyrie Jackson in the third, or move up to go get Kyrie Jackson out of Oregon. I love it. Let me see. Salute to everybody, man. Salute to my boy Raider Nomad in the building also. Yep, the entire D-line knows they are key to this team. Facts. I think that's where it actually starts, Elite. You know what I mean? That's where it starts. That's where the success is going to come from, is that defensive line. Putting pressure on the likes of Patrick Mahomes, putting pressure on Justin Herbert. You know what I mean? You got to get after the quarterbacks. You know what I mean? And our success starts with that defensive line. All 10 defensive lines are in the building getting that work. Factory. Let me see. Spencer Rattler, possibly, in my honest opinion. I'm not mad about that at all. If he does, I'm not going for him. I don't want, I like Xavier Worthy. I think, the speed is there. But at the end of the day, there's no reason for, you don't need him. You got Trey Tucker. There's no real reason to go get Xavier Worthy. You already have your speedster. And we've talked about this numerous times over here. Xavier Worthy has a problem securing the football, a lot of drops. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to be one of those guys that's just sold on his 40 to bring him in. We don't need a receiver that early. You still have Devontae. You still have, Jacoby, and you have Trey Tucker under contract. There's no real reason to go look at it, Xavier Worthy. I can see that. Kadarius Tony Jr. type. East Coast, he thinks he drops to the third regardless of the speed. 10% drop rate is nasty work. Facts. Facts, man. Salute to the almost 2,000 people here in the building, man. Appreciate you. Dwayne, I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything else on Spencer Rattler at this point. You know, I heard he had a pretty good pro day. I heard there was a lot of people out there watching him. And I've heard nothing but great stuff from Spencer Rattler at this point. A guy that has matured a lot these last few seasons. He may not have had the greatest production these last few seasons at South Carolina, but definitely a guy that I think will translate to the NFL level. You know, we always beat guys up about, you know, this because this is a what have you done for me lately business, right? But I think that Spencer Rattler is going to be a guy that, yeah, man, you know, the production, like I said, wasn't great last year, but I do believe he'll be a baller at the next level if put in the right situation. And I think if he went to Vegas, I think he could be a dog. I think he'd be a dog. NorCal says, OL, the best defensive player at 13. I'm not mad about that. If you end up, you know, with Fuaga or you end up with Quinyon Mitchell at 13, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Me personally, though, I would probably try and trade back to the mid-20s and pick up an extra second-round pick so you have some more, you know, some more stuff to work with, or you have some more firepower to move up and down the board in this upcoming draft. We have 8 picks at right now. If you move back from 13, you could potentially get to 10 picks. You know what I mean? Potentially. You know what I mean? So in a perfect world, I would probably move back into the 20s, pick up an extra second-round pick, and then maybe package up those 2 second-round picks and move back up into the first round to maybe target your quarterback of the future, or Michael Penix Jr., or one of those guys. Let me see. Salute to my guy, Richard, man. Graphk, salute, bro. Our defense has the potential to bring it back to the 80s. LA days, Long, Alzado, Hendricks, Martin, Haynes, Millen, Townsend. Our boys are going to be nasty this year. Salute to you on a $10 donation. I agree with you, brother. This defense is going to be one of them ones. I think that this year we will have a top 5 defense. Real talk. I think that we're going to have a top 5 defense. It's been forever that we can even put that kind of, you know, shit into the universe. I do believe that we're going to have a top defense in this league this year. Salute to Richard. It all starts with that defensive line, Rich. Bob, I don't know. I don't even know if he makes it to the 3rd round. I'm going to be real. The Chargers need another running back. They went out and got Gus Edwards. If he falls, let's just say Blake Corum is available in the 2nd, the Chargers are going to go get him. I think that they're going to get potentially a receiver there in the 1st round. You know, it could be a Malik Neighbors, or maybe they do look at it, Joe Alt. I could be off, but I think they're going to get Malik Neighbors there because they moved on from Keenan Allen. They need a receiver at this point. So maybe they get Malik Neighbors there, and then they go get a Blake Corum in the 2nd round. I don't know if Jim Harbaugh allows Blake Corum, past the 2nd round. I could see him going to get his guy. You know, I know he's a smaller back, 5'7", 5'8", but he's a dynamic playmaker, and I could see him thriving out there with Harbaugh. And he already knows what Harbaugh wants from him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he already knows he knows the system. He knows what's demanded out of him. I could see Blake Corum going to the Chargers potentially in the 2nd round. If he's there in the 3rd, I could see Harbaugh still targeting him. Let me see. Yeah, East Coast, I agree. If Blake falls, it's because of his size. That 5'7", 5'8", it's a little scary, man. It's a little scary. East Coast also says Dejon Edwards out of Georgia, A+ running back that doesn't get talked about a lot. And at this point, it's crazy that guy is available in the later rounds. You know what I mean, on most mock drafts. So, that is another guy that you could potentially – could you see us bringing in Edwards and bringing in that, that nice little 1-2 Georgia punch with Zeus? Salute to Pride and Purpose on the $10 donation. Rattler in the 2nd. Watch tape. Poised when the pocket collapses. Escapes when needed and can slide. Pro ready. Arm strength. When is the Stu Pac and Dollar Store Graphk QB breakdown coming? It'll be back this week. I got you, Pride and Purpose. It will be back this week. Stay tuned. Me and Stu are already working on a show behind the scenes, so stay tuned. Salute to my guy. I definitely agree with you on the whole Spencer Rattler hype. Let's see. The running backs I want us to draft: Braylon Allen, Wisconsin, Jalen Wright, Tennessee. If we end up with either one of those guys, Grizz, I would not be mad at all. Would not be mad at all. Let me see. Yeah, man. Torque 27 reps. Is that what he had? I didn't see that. He had 27 reps on the bench. Damn. That's a strong dude, bro. 5'7", 5'8", 27 reps. Holy shit. Raider Ryan, salute to my guy. Nah, Patrick Surtain is not available. They're not going to move on from their best defensive player. He's a leader in that locker room, and they wouldn't send him to the Raiders anywhere. They're not going to help us, beef up that defense. But no, he's not available. Stevie, I agree. I don't see any fit with Mike Williams. You already have your wide receiver too. With Jacoby. The only thing I'm assuming, Stevie, is if they're looking at Mike Williams, they're looking at moving Devontae a lot more into the slot. Getsy, they utilized him in Green Bay a lot. A lot of his production came out of the slot. So I could see Devontae kind of moving around a little bit more, getting a lot more production from the slot. I could see Jacoby Myers also being lined up in the slot a lot more like he once was in New England. So if you do go get a Mike Williams, I'm assuming that they want to get a little more creative with their existing wide receivers and move them around a little bit. But I'm not trying to overpay for an injury-riddled Mike Williams. I don't care if the Tom Telesco connection is there. I don't care if he drafted him. I don't care if he extended him. I don't care about any of that. I don't want to bring in a Mike Williams. Me personally, no reason for it when you go get another receiver in this upcoming draft if you want to. There's no reason to overpay. And this is what I said, a few weeks ago, you guys. I said, I'm afraid that the Raiders are going to go look at some skill player in free agency and overpay. You know what I mean? And if this is true, it would suck. I don't think it's true though. I think that, he messed up with that tweet, deleted it, realized, oh shit, I had it wrong. I don't think that Mike Williams will end up being a Raider. I could be wrong though. Tom Telesco may fool us all and spend a massive amount of money on a skill player. I just think that would be the wrong way to go about this thing, a terrible way to approach free agency. Lamont, I agree with you, man. Well, let me say this. I don't hate the QB situation. You know what I mean? Like, I would be very nervous going into this year, with Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, and Anthony Brown on the practice squad. I'd be very afraid. We're going to target a quarterback regardless. Lamont, I just don't know what wave of quarterback you're going to get. Are you going to move the farm and go up and get one of those top talents, at the top of the draft? Or are you going to assume that Michael Penix, which is starting to gain a lot of steam, you guys, there's a lot of talk now of Michael Penix being potentially a top 10 pick. There's a lot of talk now of J.J. McCarthy potentially being a top 10 pick. The only guy that I'm seeing that this kind of stock is kind of tailing off is Bo Nix at this point. But I'm a little nervous, yes, Lamont, because you look at what's going on in our division and you see the likes of a Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes, and you're like, man, you got to have that top-notch talent at the quarterback position. But we're seeing what these guys are doing. They're building up the defense. That's what they do. We're going to be a defensive team. That's what we're doing moving forward. AP is officially our head coach. That interim tag is removed. We are a defensive-minded team now. That's what we are now. We are a run-first defensive team. That's what we are. So it's going to be interesting to see, what we look like in terms of the quarterback position after the draft. But I don't hate the quarterback position. I'm just not in love with the quarterback situation at this point. But I do like Gardner Minshew and I do like Aiden O'Connell. But it would be great if we identify one of those top talents in this draft to come in and compete with those guys. Yeah, I don't know what you guys are tripping, man. I don't know. Outside of those injuries that happened in the past, what is there not to like about Michael Penix Jr.? I'm still confused by a lot of you guys' takes on Michael Penix Jr. I think this guy is one of the best pure passers in this draft. He can make all the throws. His legs, he utilizes those when need be. He can escape the pocket when it collapses. He can still make plays with his legs if need be. That's not his strength, but I've seen him do it. You know what I mean? What's the problem with Michael Penix Jr.? What is the problem? A guy that led his team to the national championship. Yeah, they got beat by the better team, but this guy is a dog. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's had some injuries in the past. Yeah, we've seen what happened in Indiana. These past few seasons, Michael Penix Jr. has been fairly healthy. You know what I'm saying? So what's the problem with bringing in a guy that could potentially be And yeah, I'm saying it, potentially being the best quarterback in this draft. I like Penix, man. I like Michael Penix Jr. a lot. Just saying. Would definitely take him over a Bo Nix. Would definitely take him over, the likes of these other guys. At this point, I'm down to 2 guys at the quarterback position. This is just me personally. And from where we're at 13 or potentially trading back, I'm in on the whole Michael Penix Jr. or Spencer Rattler. I think those are, at this point, pretty much the most logical moves for us at the quarterback position. I think that we're going to miss out on the Drake Mays of the world. I think we're going to miss out on J.J. McCarthy also. I think that his name, his stock is going up. I think we miss out on Jaden Daniels. I think we miss out on Caleb Williams. I think that's a clear-cut number 1 going to Chicago. So you guys better get used to the names Michael Penix Jr. and Spencer Rattler. I think those are 2 names to definitely keep an eye on. Let me see. Salute to Niles. I trust in time. Let's see, nation. We are going upward. This is facts. And Penix with an high IQ. Talk. Salute to Sis. Appreciate you on the $5 donation. Let me see. Q, I'm just not high on Joe Milton, bro. I'm not. Yeah. People tend to forget about those 2 games. Marquise, people tend to forget about those 2 games against Oregon where he absolutely cooked. You know what I mean? Absolutely cooked. Him and Bo Nix look good in both those games. You know what I mean? But Michael Penix absolutely cooked. Everybody's just judging him based off of that national championship game where he was beat up a little bit. Y'all nasty, man. Hug and LT. Y'all are nasty. You guys are about to, in the words of my brother Wasted Talent, about to get unceremoniously blizzard. Salute to Mondo with that content. Yeah. Primos, I agree. He got beat by the better team. Better defensive team. You know what I mean? Look, what did they do? They ran the football effectively. They had 2 really, really great running backs. You know what I mean, out there. They were cooking that Washington defense. I mean, look, Michael Penix did everything he could to go out there and win that football game. It just didn't happen. We've just seen the tip of Penix. Yo, y'all crazy, bro. You're crazy. You're crazy, man. Robles, look, if you feel you can get Michael Penix later in the first round, or you can get up Spencer Rattler in the second, or potentially later in the first round, trade back. Just trade back, man. Potentially, I would love to be able to just take best player available. You know what I mean? They're at 13. But if they believe that Michael Penix Jr. is the best player available on the board at 13, if he's available, then get your guy. Get your guy. I'm take the best player available. If that's going to be the approach, staying at 13, take the best player there. Take the best player there. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't complain if it was a right tackle or a corner or a quarterback. Salute to Spivey, my dog, on the $5 donation. If we get Penix, we need a super stud right tackle to cover his blind side. Facts. That's why I keep saying, Spivey, why not go get Fuaga at 13, package up your second and some other shit, move back up into the first, and go get Michael Penix Jr. if available. If the cards fell that way, I would love to be able to get Fuaga, that right tackle of the future there, and then move up to get Michael Penix, move back into the first round to go get him. I would love that. If that's the way this situation plays out, getting Fuaga there and then trading back into the first to go get Michael Penix Jr., I would love it. I would absolutely love it. Then you can go get your corner, in that 3rd to 4th round. And still you can get one in free agency, you guys. My apologies. My allergies are kicking my ass right now. Salute to Laughter. Colts were 11th in points per game last year. If we finished 11th in points per game, we would make the playoffs with this defense. Still hoping for Michael Penix Jr., though. Salute to Laughter. Talk that shit, bro. Remember this, too. Who was their running back most of the time, Laughter? It was Zach Moss, right? A career backup at this point. You know what I mean? Like, I know Buffalo drafted him to be that guy. He ended up not really being that guy. Him and Devin Singletary being that 1-2 punch. Then he went down to Indianapolis, started balling out. He got paid a nice amount of money to go to Cincinnati to be that guy. But they had a backup running back with Jonathan Taylor holding out and dealing with the injury and all that good stuff. Like, yes. And then look at the receiving core that they had. 11th in points per game. Man, look. You see. Wardlow, I agree. But I really, truly believe in Jack Jones. I do. I think that he can be that guy. I do, man. I think that AP believes that he can be that guy. Maybe it's Jack Jones, but I still believe we're going to target, whether it's in free agency or in the draft, a potential cornerback one. Definitely. Salute to Forte, my dog. Good morning, brother. Have to say, not buying the trenches talk. Besides huge signing, our O-line sucks. Not impressive at all. And not enough draft capital to many holes, my brother. I got to disagree with you, bro. I got to disagree with you. This is a O-line heavy draft. There's no reason. Why do you want to overpay in free agency for veterans? It just doesn't make any sense. You already brought back your guy, Andre James, who's still really young. And, you got Mumford, a really young right tackle that I think will fit in this James Craig system. You know what I'm saying? You still got Colton Miller, who's one of the most underrated left tackles in the game. Then you got Dylan Parham now, right? At left guard, we're shifting our system on the offensive line. Like, I think Parham is going to end up having a career year this year. I don't think the O-line is as bad as you guys are making this shit sound. I'm going to be real with you, man. Yeah, you want to target another guard, in the draft. Yeah, you may potentially want to go get another tackle to compete with Mumford. I'm going to be real, man. I think our offensive line is one of our strengths. I think it was one of our strong suits. Yes, we still need to beef it up a little bit, beef up the O-line a little bit. I think that it's still one of our strong suits at this point. Continuity from center on left. You have 3 starters returning. Then you have Mumford, a guy that played pretty well at right tackle and even better at left tackle last year with Colton Miller out. You just go get another guard, bring Greg Van Roten in on a vet minimum and go draft a guard, and I think our O-line is going to be okay. And yeah, I mean, Spider-Mac, it does look like we will be going zone scheme. It looks like that's what Craig is planning on doing with the offensive line. Paul, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think that Parham fits better with what James Craig potentially is trying to do moving forward. And I think that he's going to have a really big year. And you got to realize this too, Paul, is that he lost his left tackle. He looked a lot better out there on the field with Colton Miller at left tackle. You know what I mean? Like and rightfully so, right? You have one of the better left tackles in the league. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, you're going to look a little worse with one of the top guys off of the O-line. Salute to Cheese, my guy. What if we go all in on defense and pick up Jenkins or Fisk with our first? And should we give Jones the coveted number 24? No, I don't think anybody should wear number 24 moving forward, Cheese, but that's just me. That's just it's a number that should be held at very, very high regard, in the Raiders organization. And I get it. We don't retire numbers and all that stuff, but I don't want Jones to move to 24. Keep his number. Keep these guys away from 24 because none of them will be available to live up to the hype. Other than that, I'm not against, going all defense, but if you're going to look at some of these options like a Fisk, Cheese, move back. Just move back, trade back. And if you're going to get a defensive tackle there, I love Fisk. Don't get me wrong. I think he's going to be available in the later of the first or potentially in the second round. Go get Byron Murphy. I would take Byron Murphy at this point over Braden Fisk. And I like Fisk a lot. I love his motor. I think he's going to be a dog at the next level, but I think that Byron Murphy could potentially be an all-pro talent at the next level. So if you're gonna at 13 say, you know what, go get a defensive tackle, go get Murphy. Me personally. But I love Fisk as well. If you end up with Fisk somehow, great. Salute to Cheese, my guy. Yeah, Chris, at this point, that's what he is. Salute to S. Dot, my guy in the building. So, Graphk, we ain't going to talk about Anthony Brown at all. I think he might possibly beat out Gardner Minshew. Is Anthony Brown accuracy trash or under mid? Is definitely mid. As the other than being second to Lamar Jackson, am I missing something? I'm gonna be real with you, S. Dot. I don't even think that Anthony Brown may be on his roster. Real talk. I mean, I don't think he's going to be on this roster. I think we'll end up cutting him at some point. There's no way that he beats out Gardner Minshew at all. There's no way in hell. Gardner Minshew has won football games as a starter in this league. You know what I mean? And he's played pretty well. You know what I mean? I don't think there's any way. Don't get me wrong. You know, Anthony Brown is one of those kind of, you know, guys that people look at and they see the skill set and they think, oh man, this could be that guy that, you know, that we've been missing, you know, dynamic and all that other. Nah, man. Nah. I think you may be overvaluing Anthony Brown at this point as that. Real talk. Go look at some of his tape, and I mean tape, not highlights as that, because you can get sold watching highlights. You can get sold watching highlights. Don't watch the highlights. Watch his tape. I don't think that he even makes this roster. Salute to you on a $20 donation, my brother. Appreciate you. Look, Q says an Oregon fan, Anthony Brown is not it. Let me see. Yeah. Highlights get everybody sold on everybody. Everybody has highlights. Even some of the worst players in the NFL have highlights. Salute to all. And we're going to bring Bro Schmo back on the show before the draft. That's our guy. We always bring him on. It's an annual thing. But I mean, Walt, I've literally had mock drafts where I took the same thing. Literally. I mean, how many mock drafts, you guys, have you seen where I've took Fuaga, I've took Penix, and I took Kyrie Jackson? Come on, Walt. That shit ain't leather, man. Salute to my brother, Bro Schmo, though. Let me see. Is that true? I didn't see that. Did Max sign with Jordan? Salute to Baber, my guy. Appreciate you, brother. Salute, man. We got 2,100 people in the building, man. Whether you're watching on Twitter, whether you're watching on YouTube, I just want to say I appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit them thumbs up, wipe them feet, hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed yet. Robles, I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it, man. Trust me. I would love to bring on Max. Love to bring him on the show. Let me see. Torque says, Michael Pratt out of Tulane, Sam Hartman, which I know our guy East Coast Gridiron loves out of Notre Dame, Spencer Rattler, and Travis could all fit Getsy's system nicely. Okay. Michael Pratt is another guy, you know, that's an under-the-radar quarterback in this year's draft. Out of Tulane, went to a smaller school. The guy's a proven winner. He's a winner. Sam Hartman, you guys know how I feel. I'm a Notre Dame guy. I'm not big on Sam Hartman at all. I would not want to bring in Sam Hartman. Spencer Rattler, I would love it. Travis, I know dealing with that injury out of Florida State. I think he's a little undersized, Tort. I would be kind of nervous about bringing him in, but he's a dynamic talent. You know, if he's there available in the later rounds and we decide on going that route, cool. If they see something with him. But I would stay away from Jordan Travis. Me personally, I would stay away from Sam Hartman. If Michael Pratt is the move in the middle rounds, cool. I don't know what he's going to end up being at the next level. But there's one name that's there that I'm here with you, and that's Spencer Rattler. And there you go, East Coast. Look, Travis has been injury prone his whole career. This isn't his first. Every year he has something. Expo, look, this isn't a move that we talked about a lot. We never even talked about bringing in Alexander Madison, but it'd be great to lock in another running back. You know what I mean? So then when you go into the draft, it's not necessarily a need. You know what I mean? You're locking down your backup running back, a guy that has gotten it done being a backup at the NFL level behind Dalvin Cook out there in Minnesota. So as long as it's an inexpensive deal, Expo, I'm good. I'm good. Keep Alexander Madison in the building. 700 yards on the ground last year, 3 touchdowns in the receiving game. I like it. Bring him in, sign him, and then you can still go get you a running back in the later rounds now. You won't have to potentially get you one in the 3rd or 5th. You could potentially go get a running back in the 6th to 7th round or potential UDFA. Let me see. Robert says, if Drake May has the draft day drop and is there at 13, do you take him over Penix? It's a great question, Robert. It's a great question. Man, Drake May has been one of my favorite quarterbacks in this year's draft. He has been. I understand, playing in North Carolina, I understand he didn't have all the talent around him in order to be as successful as I think he could be, but I'm taking Drake May. I am. I love Michael Penix Jr. I do, but I think that Drake May can be one of those guys. I do. So that would be something to think about, Rob. But I think if he's there in the top 10, I think somebody moves up to get Drake May. I think Minnesota does not allow Drake May to pass them up. I think that Denver wouldn't allow Drake May to pass them up. You know what I mean? So I don't think there's any way possible unless we trade up to go get Drake May. I think that he'll end up being, if not a Patriot, he'll end up being a Minnesota Viking or a Denver Bronco. Expo, it's all love, family. Let me see. I can see that, Justin. I can see that. And I got a homeboy that covers the Commanders, and he even said that he doesn't know what they're going to do yet. Is it Jaden? You know what I mean? Or is it Derek May? Is it Drake May? They don't know yet. It would be interesting to see Drake May, out there with Cliff Kingsbury. That'd be an interesting fit with that offense. Salute to everybody here in the building, man. Wipe them feet, y'all. If you trade back, I don't even know if Lot 2 is going to be there. Bro, he could potentially be the best defensive end in this draft. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's the way. And to be real with you, New Era, this is the thing. I love Lot 2. I would love him to be in the silver and black. But the problem with that is you just drafted a defensive end last year in Tyree Wilson. You have Malcolm Kuntz playing on his last year of his deal that put up 7 sacks last season that can continue that upward trajectory. There's no real reason to go get, a edge rush from the first round. There's no reason. I love Latu, love the talent, love it, but I'm not taking the edge rush from the first round. I think we're pretty good there. Get one in the later rounds. Like I said, Muhammad, out of Colorado State, a guy that put up 13 sacks for that, a smaller school last year that looked really good. I think he had like 2 or 3 forced fumbles as well. I could be wrong on that, but somewhere along those lines. That's a guy you take a look at. You got a guy you take a flyer on in the later rounds to see if it works out. Let me see. Salute to everybody. Salute to Brian also. Ricky Two Toes, I definitely will. You guys know, man, Sanjit's a friend of the show. He's been on the show multiple times. I'll definitely reach out to my guy right before the draft and get him on the show. Vikings have a private workout with McCarthy just announced. Look, man, this has been one of the talents that they've been looking at since day one. I've heard Minnesota is very high on J.J. McCarthy. Also hearing that they're high on Drake May. So not shocked about that, Brian. Not shocked about that at all. I can definitely see him ending up out there in Minnesota with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Let me see. He said, Drake May, Bo Nix, JJ will not be better than Penix Jr. I'll bet whoever on that. Doesn't take science to see that. Just, hey, man, you never know, man. The thing is this, Devin. The NFL level is an entirely different game. It's an entirely different game than it is at the collegiate level, brother. You can never truly just say that this is going to happen. You just never know. You never know. You can't make that kind of proclamation and say that he's going to be better than all those guys. We don't know. We don't know. 702. Love him. Mammoth of a man. Can be your starting right tackle of the future for years to come. I like Mims. If that's the move, if Waga's off the board, if a few of those other guys, if J.C. Latham is off the board and you think that Mims can be the guy for you to anchor that right side, I'm not against it. Love Mims' game. And the measurables are just there. Mammoth of a man. Let me see. Salute to everybody here, man. We talked about Trey White coming in this week for a visit. We talked about Mike Williams potentially coming in for a visit, and also Alexander Madison will be in the building today, you guys. So we may lock down our running back too, just like that, before the draft. Yo, what up, Graphk? Take quarterback off the table. What position should we address with the first pick? Raider fan, I'm gonna say the same thing, man. Either right tackle or corner. If they believe in Mumford the way they do, and I'm comfortable with that, if they really truly believe in him, then go get your corner. If you stay at 13, take your corner. Go get you a Quinyon Mitchell. Go get you a Terrion Arnold out of Alabama. But it's got to be right tackle or corner if you're not going quarterback at 13. I don't think any other position would. I think I get pissed off pretty much any other position that if we pinpoint any other position outside of those two at 13, I'd probably be pissed. Go get your right tackle of the future if you don't believe Mumford's the guy, or go get your corner. Mike, I like Quinyon Mitchell over Nate Wiggins, and I like Wiggins a lot. But I like Quinyon Mitchell. I think he's the dude. Let me see. Rich, we talked about him. And sounds as though our scouts have kind of done their homework on Frank Crum also. Another guy that Hondo had mentioned the other day, when we did our show with him, and Wasted. Another guy, Frank Crum, tackle out of Wyoming. That's another guy to keep an eye on that you can target later on in the draft. So, salute to Ridgeback. Apparently, our scouts have already done their homework on a Frank Crum. So, let me see. Senor, not mad about that. If that's how it ends up, it's another guy that can be, one of the greatest offensive tackles in this draft. Not mad about that. Richard, Frank motherfucking Crum. LT, I'm going to check that out. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them. But I'm telling y'all now, Quinyon Mitchell. Not Quinyon. Quinyon Mitchell. I've said it since day one. That's my guy. And Terrion Arnold's a close second. Then we got the Nate Wiggins of the world, the Kool-Aid McKinstry's, and so on and so forth. And another guy, Mondo, that Stu brought to our attention the other day, Ro Torrence out of Arizona State. Let me see. Rebel, I agree with you, bro. I agree with you. Let me see. Get a few more questions in, you guys, before we get out of here, man. Ryan, he is working. He's taking care of his family, has a great career. He's in the military. He's just not doing content anymore. I don't think y'all realize, man, that this. Well, I think a lot of you do realize it's tough to stay consistent and stay doing this type of stuff. It's hard to gain motion being a content creator. It's tough to see, that there's a glimmer of hope at the end of the tunnel, right? Like it's tough, man. Like there's a reason why, not just with the Raiders, but like any content creator, year in and year out, you see guys kind of fall off the globe and not do it anymore. It's tough, man. It's tough, and different people have different priorities, different responsibilities, and some people don't want to do this shit like that. You know what I mean? With me, this is what I do. This is what I want to do until I'm gone. Period. This is me. Like I'm not leaving the content realm. This is what I want to do, point blank, period, until it's over with. At a higher level, you know what I'm saying? But it's a lot, man. To commit yourself to this, it's a lot. That's why you see a lot of content creators fall off the globe year in and year out. It's not an easy thing. Oh man, Torque, it would be to take, to take someone take a position that we don't need. Biggest nightmare scenario would be to take a wide receiver in the first round. You know what I mean? Or to you know what I mean, like a running back or some crazy shit like that. or, to be real with you, man, to reach on a linebacker too early. I think right now we if you're going to pinpoint any particular positions, you got to get that right tackle. You got to get that corner high end corner 2 or corner 1. And I think and then you got to target that quarterback. Those are the 3 now that you need the most out of any other position. Yeah, you can get a linebacker later. You can get a running back later. You can get a guard later. But you have to pinpoint that quarterback. Then you have to look at the right side of that line, and you have to go get you another corner. Bobby Clark, I appreciate you, bro. Yeah, East Coast, facts. Dan, I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, man. Thank you, Walt. Appreciate you, brother. Let me see. Now, Q, I talked about this. I talked about this shit the other day. I wouldn't be mad at that. That could be a potential generational talent coming out of this draft. Now, would it suck that you ain't got a tight end? Yeah, but we keep saying best player available, right? If he's there at 13, bro, Bowers is going to be one of them ones. But Q, I'll be real with you, I don't see him available at 13. I think he's off the board in the top 10. But if you paired him up with Michael Mayer, oh my God, dog, that's the best tight end duo, in the NFL. But I don't think it makes any sense. You know what I mean? You got Michael Mayer to be that guy moving forward. You just signed Harrison Bryant. There's no real reason to go get a Bowers. Let me see. No, not at all. Not at all. I think unless Arizona gets some monumental, trade package to move back, I don't see it. I think that they're stuck on Marvin Harrison Jr. And if he's not there, I think that they're going to be stuck on a Malik Neighbors, who could potentially be the best wide receiver in this class. I don't see them moving on. They gotta get a target for Kyler Murray. I don't see them moving that spot. I don't see it. I don't see a deal in play with Arizona. I could be wrong. I could be totally off base, but I don't see them moving. They need to target. They need a target. They need a number 1 guy for Kyler Murray. Hey, Mike, 2 dogs, man. 2 dogs. 2 dogs. I hear you, King. Thank you, Darkside. I hear you. Cooper's a dog, man. Cooper's a dog, and Peyton Wilson is a dog. Facts. Ridgeback. What pick at 13 would trigger wasted like the Passover of Jalen Carter last year? I think it would be another edge rusher, Reg. I do. I think it would be another edge rusher. That's not necessarily a need right now with Tyree on, still on the roster, with Malcolm Kuntz still on the roster, with Janarius Robinson still on the roster. I think it would be a defensive end. I do. I think that would have wasted throwing up live in front of everybody. Salute the Ridge, my brother. East Coast, man, my guy. Graphk, I say this with utmost respect. As a Jags fan and a random YouTube guy, I appreciate you for welcoming me into your community, brother. I try to pop in every chance I get. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you, man. And good luck, bro, with your channel and everything, man. I know you're over there, building this thing from the ground up, brother. You know what I mean? Keep working, keep grinding. You will definitely see results, man. Just stay grinding, brother. Stay grinding, man. Consistency is key. I don't see us re-signing Hunter Renfrow, John, at all. At all. Yeah, that would be nasty, nasty work. Nasty work. And Thomas is going to be a dog at the NFL level. Brian Thomas is going to be a stud. It's not a need for us. I even seen Keon Coleman in a few mock drafts, being directed towards us. We do not need a receiver in the first round. There's no way in hell. Oh my God, stuff. I'll be running to the podium. It's not going to happen, but I'd be running to the podium. Could you imagine that, you guys? Could you imagine if the first three rounds ended up with us with Terrion Arnold or Quinyon Mitchell, the second round, Byron Murphy the second, and then Spencer Rattler in the third? I think that would be the best way to hit this draft. Like, if that would be probably the best shit ever, outside of potentially moving up to go get, a Jaden Daniels or one of those top talents. But if that's the way it fell, dog, could you imagine that? Could you imagine that? Byron Murphy falling to the second and Spencer Rattler available in the third, and then you still end up with one of those top corners? Dog, I would be absolutely in heaven. Stuff Guardians, I would be absolutely in heaven, brother. Let me see. Ryan, facts. I'm going to that game, DeMokes. I will be there. Yes, Steve, another guy we don't talk about a lot, Zach Gentry, who will be back this year. Let me see. I don't think so either, Rebel. I think that Byron Murphy is going to be a first-round guy, and he's going to be off. He'll be off the board by then. I can even see New Orleans taking him. I can see New Orleans taking Byron Murphy right after we draft. I can see him gone off the board, going to New Orleans. They can use another presence in the middle of that defensive line. But Darius Robinson, another guy that, can play on the outside, play on the inside, played at a high level at defensive end in Missouri, played at a high level at defensive tackle. Can definitely see that. He can definitely fall to the second round. I wouldn't be against that. No, don't. I've said this a million times, Mike. Chase Young has effort issues. 1 minute, he looks like he has the motor of a Max Crosby. The next minute, he looks like he just doesn't give a shit. I would not pay Chase Young, and I'm not moving Wilson to defensive tackle full time. I don't think that makes any sense, because he will get absolutely dominated in the run game. If you move Tyree Wilson to the middle of that defensive line, opposing offenses will run the ball. It's just not going to work. It's not going to work. You want him on the inside of that defensive line on clear passing downs. You know what I'm saying? That's where you put him there. You know what I mean? You have him rush from the middle of your defensive line. Have him set the edge on running downs. You know what I'm saying? And I don't see that right now. He still needs to develop. In a perfect world, Mike, he develops on the outside and becomes this next level edge rusher that can set the edge and can get to the quarterback. You know what I mean? But right now, I don't think that Wilson has what it takes to move. I don't think you want to move him to defensive tackle. Put him there, here and there. And certain looks. Give him certain looks at defensive tackle. Oh, Ryan, you know what? I'm going to announce that today. I totally forgot about it. I need to reach out. Me and Honda were texting yesterday. I'm going to send him over the information. I will announce it. I'll actually do a video, just like a short or a snippet, and I'll release it here very, very soon. Shit, I need to get some tissue, man. My allergies are kicking my ass. Mike, I'm not mad about it, man. He went and got a bag. You know what I'm saying? I think he 2 years, $9-10 million deal. You know what I mean? Salute to him. Once a Raider, always a Raider, man. That'd be cold, right? Can you see Tyree, playing the defensive tackle in clear NASCAR packages? Could you imagine rushing the quarterback with Christian Wilkins, Max Crosby, Tyree Wilson, and Malcolm Kuntz off the edge? Whew. Nasty work. Martin, I have. Q, yes, I switched it up. I just changed the time. I'm going to save that other thumbnail and do another show with the Bargain Basement Shopping Free Agency show. That was going to be the initial show today, but maybe I'll run it back tonight. Let me see. I'm going to see what Wasted got going on, and maybe we'll do our winner for the Air Force Ones with that. So stay tuned. Maybe Wasted wants to run one back tonight. Maybe we can do that. Let me see. Salute to everybody here in the building, man. 2,200 people still rocking, man. Wipe them feet, y'all. Hit them thumbs up. If you are not subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thus far, we talked about Trey White coming in for a visit this week. We talked about Alexander Madison coming in for a visit today, to be that running back too. Also, we talked about the potential of Mike Williams potentially coming in for a visit, which I don't think will happen at all. And I don't think it's the right move to be made at all. We talked about all that. We talked about some free agency. We talked about the draft. Let's link up for a Raiders game. Raiders-Ravens. Money Main. Me and Wasted are already talking about going to that Baltimore game. That's one game that we have circled on our list of games to go to this year. So, brother, I will make sure to let you guys know and to stay in tune with what games we're going to this year. Yeah, Justin, I thought it was nasty, man. I know that, Malik Neighbors is a dog. I know that Brian Thomas is a dog, but to have both of those guys listed over Marvin Harrison Jr., he had Marvin Harrison Jr. at wide receiver level 2. That is insane to me. If you don't have Marvin Harrison at least on that same list, me personally, it goes Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors. Then you can put a Brian Thomas and the Keon Coleman in that next list of guys if that's what you want to do. But I don't see in any world how that matches up. That made no sense to me. How do you have Marvin Harrison Jr. in that second wave of wide receivers? I think Chris Sims just does shit to get clicks at this point. Truly, I truly do. It doesn't make any sense. And I think Brian Thomas is a dog. I think he's going to be a monster at the next level, but you cannot have him rated over Marvin Harrison Jr. at this point. That's insane to me. Salute to Jesus. Appreciate you on a $2 donation, my brother. Thank you so much. And salute to my guy, one of the greatest names in YouTube history. Fuck you. Just checked in. I don't know how I feel about signing White. I think if we are looking into acquiring a corner, it's Jair or draft. Another name to keep an eye on, my dog, is Marshawn Lattimore today. Another name to keep an eye on. And Raider Sprayer, Rome is definitely a top guy as well. My bad. I got Rome over Brian Thomas. So it goes Marvin Harrison Jr., Neighbors. I would go Rome. Then there's that list of Keon and Brian Thomas and the likes of those guys. But you're right. Definitely. I forgot about Rome. But he had Rome in his third tier of wide receivers. He had Rome as his third tier. Walt says Dalton Reisner is a right guard. Maybe we bring him in. I wouldn't be mad about that. Real talk, Walt. Wouldn't be mad about that. Let me see. I want to read something real quick that East Coast just put up. I want to check out this guy's profile. Salute to everybody in the building, man. Wipe them feet, y'all. Hit them thumbs up. If you're not subscribed yet, man, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So, damn, bro, okay. So you have Jermaine Burton as your number 2. Wow. Okay. Alabama guy. 39 receptions last year. 798 yards in the air. 8 touchdowns. Averaged 20.5 a clip. Senior last year, 6 foot, 194. Huh. Rated as your second guy. Okay. Salute to East Coast Gridiron. Okay. I mean, I don't agree with you at all, brother, but I'm not mad at your opinion. That's what's up. Trey is a corner 1 if healthy. Let's go. You ain't never lied, bro, but that's a major if. Major. Yeah, I don't even have Jermaine Burton in my top 5 receivers. Even if he's in the top 10, I have him somewhere in that 10 range. Spare, I have Baker over him. I do. Oh, yeah. And Xavier Legette. Hey, man, that is another guy. That's probably like my 5th out of South Carolina. That dude is a fucking dog. Yeah, man. Kick. Kick nuts. Y'all don't look, man. Y'all don't have to worry about bro. He's absolutely doing fine. He's working a lot of hours, spending more time, with his family and his wife. It's not that big of a deal. There's nothing going on with him. He's good. He's good to go, brother. Like, trust me, man. Sometimes, he has a full-time job. Like so he can take a step back from things, I'm saying, if need be. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to worry. I mean, pray for him regardless, because that's our brother, but it's not that big of a deal, man. He's doing all right. He's doing all right. He's just focused on, on work, family, his marriage, shit like that. You know what I mean? Hammer is blessed and highly favored and doing very, very well with himself. Great show. You think we get wait. What is that, bro? Run it back in the draft? KC, what you talking about? You said run it back? Oh, you think we get a running back? You think we get a running back? Yes. KC, definitely. Those later rounds. Those later rounds, KC. Telling you now, if you bring in Alexander Madison and you sign him today, look at taking a running back in that 5th to 7th range, maybe even a UDFA. Some of these guys may be UDFAs, y'all. Like Frank Gore Jr., he may be a UDFA. Now, then you could take a flyer on him at that point. You know what I mean? Ray Davis may be, because of how stacked this draft is, he may be available in the 5th round. Take him. You know what I mean? Like, there's other guys, a Lloyd, you know what I'm saying, out of USC. He may be available in the 6th round. You may potentially be able to get another, your third running back in the later rounds. But yes, I definitely believe we take one. A lot of diamonds in the late rounds. Facts. Yo, that name is crazy. Mehoff. That name is crazy. Crazy. Salute to my brother, Big Mike, in the building, man. Love you, bro. Salute to my brother, man. Oh, Cowtown. I'm not, bro. I know what Enos Rakestraw brings to the game, bro. He is a dog. Bro. I definitely agree with you, man. He could be one of those top corners in this year's draft. I agree with you. He's a dog, bro. I just like Quinyon Mitchell a lot. Oh, yeah, Mike. Yeah, bro. That's that real country shit, bro. See, now, as for someone that like me that has I lived in Atlanta for probably over 10 years of my life, off and on. Went back home to Cali, would move to Atlanta for 2 years, go back to Cali, then move to Atlanta for 5 years, move back to Cali. I'm used to that. South Carolina's right next to Georgia. I'm used to that. You know what I mean? That's some country ass shit. Facts. Truth teller, you're late. He said, but is Mike, it's at this point, we don't know. The person that put it up on Twitter deleted it immediately. So we have no idea. So stay tuned. I wouldn't put it past Tom Telesco to bring him in the building and see if he would take a 1-year prove-it deal to kind of stick it to the Chargers. So I don't know yet. Okay. I'm not mad at you. He just scares the shit out of me, man. He scares the shit out of me because, we went that route before, big body wide receiver, out of South Carolina. We've tried this before, the next TO, we tried this before with with Edwards, you know what I mean? So, but let me say this. I think Xavier's going to be the better wide receiver. And I hear you, Cowtown. We could definitely use another big body receiver. That's why if Mike Williams did come into the building and for a visit, I wouldn't be shocked. I just don't want to pay that kind of money. Gio, I don't know, man. I don't know. At this point, I'm assuming the Niners just take the fifth year option, pay him $14 million. And then they try and figure it out. I don't think that he leaves the Niners at all, to be real with you. Would he love to return and play for the Raiders? I mean, play for Antonio Pierce. Could definitely see that. But receiver's not a need at this point, you guys. It's just not. Johnny Wilson. It's the kid we was talking about, right? 6'7", Mackie, out of Florida State. Can definitely see that, Smooth. Can definitely see that. They've been in on J.J. McCarthy for a long time now. But, yeah, man, coming up on 2 hours, you guys. Get a few more questions in. I'm going to sip this coffee, man. We'll get right. Lance, okay. Bro, could you imagine putting Byron Murphy next to Christian Wilkins with Max and Malcolm Coons? It really, truly wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be fair at all, if I'm being honest with you. Like, could you imagine that defensive line? And now then you have, Adam Butler and John Jenkins as rotational guys. Could you imagine? Whew. Salute to Martin, man. Appreciate you, brother. Let me see. If you were to trade back and acquire another second or third, then we'll be able to draft a young receiver for Adams to teach. This is facts. Factory. You pick up some extra draft capital, you know what I mean? And then it's not a luxury pick at that point, Cowtown. You're bringing in somebody that you can help develop. Yes, Big Mike. Yes, run that back, bro. We need that. That was one of the greatest things of last year was Big Mike's 30 for 30 prospects. Let's see. But all right, y'all. Let me get out of here, man. Let me see if we might be able to do something a little later. I'm gonna reach out to Waste to see if he wants to rock tonight. I'll actually hit Stu up as well, see if he wants to run something back in terms of content wise. But I appreciate you guys as always, man. Love and appreciate every one of y'all. On the way out, do me a favor, man. Wipe them feet, meaning hit them thumbs up. Also hit that subscribe button. If you guys are not subscribed yet, we will be active all week long with big name guys coming in for, potential workouts, the Mike Williams of the world, the Trey Whites, Alexander Madison's. There's a lot to keep an eye on moving forward. And if Madison signs, you guys, we probably will run another live back, and I'm going to get you guys' opinion on that. All right. Stay tuned. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. And on the way out, Jose always does this. Love my guy. Graphk, would you be forgetting a tackle, Troy Fautanu at 13 and trade back in the first? Wouldn't be against that at all, Jose. Would not be against that at all, my brother. Wouldn't at all. Would not at all. Another highly regarded tackle in this year's draft. Not against it, man. Salute to my guy, Jose. But there's other guys I prefer over him. The likes of a Fuaga, maybe even the J.C. Latham. I know a lot of people are afraid of him because of the Leatherwood, Alabama connection. But I like Latham and I like Fuaga better than Troy Fautanu, but would not be against it. Salute to my guy, Jose, man. Appreciate you, brother. Let me get the hell out of here. Appreciate y'all as always. I'm out. One.
That's what I'm talking about.